This is every Minecraft build hack you need for your dream house, starting with this one using cherry wood. Now by itself, the new cherry saplings offer a lot of great pink blocks to play around with. You just might need to strip it down to its inside. But when you go to place down all these new pink blocks, you really just get something that looks like slime, and not the fun ones that gets you a lot of views on YouTube. I'm talking about the ones that they make chicken nuggets out of. And in that case, I think you should use a couple of quartz blocks to frame it up like so. Just with that little bit of white, it paints it together a lot nicer. And I think this can really do wonders if you use it on the roof. Or if you build it like I did, it just looks like a strawberry milk carton. That might be a plus, I don't know. But really, cherry wood isn't just good for our walls and roofs. You can also use it pretty well on your floor. And what I like to do is just take the lighter colored pink blocks that we have and then get darker and darker as it goes out, giving you both a floor and a flower. And I really like the sound effects of placing these, but I don't like the sound effects of walking over it as much. Something about that scream of the stripped crimson logs, it rubs me the wrong way. Or maybe we're rubbing it the wrong way. I guess it's fair. And now that we got this great looking floor, we've got to put something on top of it. You know, to hide that great looking floor. And to do that, this is where the bed comes into your bedroom. Now what I would do first here is lay down a couple of wool blocks for whatever sheets that you want, and then use a couple of snow blocks and snow layers for the pillows and mattress underneath. And while this doesn't seem very functional as a bed, we'll get back to that. I want to do the frame first. Now pick whatever wood color that you want for the actual bed frame. I'm going to choose crimson just because I think it looks really nice with these pink sheets. And then with a couple of proper blocks laid out like this, for each of the posts we put a wall and then a fence on top so that it tapers off towards the top. Finally, add on a roof, and we look mostly done, but there's one thing I wanted to get back to. Now if you were to take a couple of trapdoors and lay them out, it also frames the bed, but when you flip these down and break these blocks here, we can actually tuck a proper bed and then put carpets over top so that it doesn't look out of place, and it's also usable, as long as you flip down the trapdoor. And then for the final piece de resistance, which is French for piece of resistance, at least I think, what we can do is put a couple of banners outlining this to give you some, hard to call them blackout curtains when there's not a single black color in sight. And then, here's the kicker, you can overlay the banners like this so then we get half colors as well. Add on to that the fact you're able to change up the banner designs too. There's a lot of customization here. It really depends on how you want your bedroom to look, or how much work you want to do before you fall asleep. I guess those are the two variables, huh? And that's not the only banners that we're going to use inside of your room. Since if we were to take white banners and add on all these things that you see here in the hotbar, then we can lay those out on our wall like this and frame it up just right to get ourselves a dresser. You just gotta place a couple of stairs facing into each other and then stack it up until eventually we have what actually looks like a dresser. For me personally, I like putting chiseled bookshelves in the background here. That way we not only have function with being able to store our cursive binding books, our most prized possession, but that also gives little sparks of color to this design as well. And then finally we can add in a flower pot with a cherry sapling like this, and that way you'll be ready to, well, I guess get ready. The last bit of furniture that we're gonna put inside of your bedroom is this bookshelf desk like this. Now again, you can use regular bookshelves or chiseled bookshelves depending on how much crafting you want to do. Tuck those into the wall here, and then by using trap doors, we can give ourselves both the desk and the housing over top of it. And then finally, for the drawers on our desk, we'll just place down a couple of these stripped cherry wood logs facing outwards. Then with an invisible item frame, a crimson slab, and a fence over all that mess, it looks like little drawers. And that's not the last we're going to use of that invisible item frame. If you place it over the top of this trap door here, then we can add in an actual book, and that way our bookshelf desk will be complete. And yeah, of course we have to add in the cherry sapling over top. That's that piece of resistance I was talking about earlier. Our bedroom's not done yet though. I want to add one last thing. And to do this, we're gonna need quite a few armor stands, but hear me out. Now, after making your banners with the specifications like this, what we're gonna do is pick out the spot in your room, put an enchanting table inside of the floor, and then build up a couple of guide blocks like this. They don't have to look pretty, they're guide blocks, we're gonna get rid of them. Since the whole point that we're building up here is so that we can drop armor stands right into position. But before we can drop them into position, we gotta move them into position. So angle your armor stand like this, use a piston to push it back this way and then once again, and keep in mind when you do this, you have to break the piston and not the redstone block. Otherwise, the piston just retracts and brings the armor stand back to step 1. But once you've done that, you got it inside of the corner, you can spleef the armor stand, and it'll drop into the corner, giving us the first of our legs for our plushie. And unfortunately for us, the phrase first of means that we have to do this 3 more times to get it all right. We'll eventually be able to push in a stair block like this using the same piston. Add on your banner, and it's got its little face. Yeah, I really like how this looks. And the reason that we didn't use a wool block for these white armor stands is because if you use anything that isn't transparent, the armor stands will just turn black in color. Which, I don't know, maybe that's something you want to do. In this case, it makes it look like a panda, which I also think is cute. And now that your bedroom's looking good, we can move on to the rest of the dream house. Quartz isn't the only block that works well with cherry wood. And really, using a couple of purpur blocks, those can make for some great pillars if you want to divvy up your build. And personally, I think it looks really nice for framing your doorway. And the doorway wasn't the only one that was framed, alright? Stepping inside to the rest of the house, we're going to keep that same purpur and mix it together with terracotta. Since by placing glazed purple terracotta in a row like so, until we eventually have it laid up so that the arrows are pointing into each other, then when we lay over top of it with a couple of these slabs, that gives us a really fun wallpaper design to play around with inside of the house. And it also makes this block a lot more usable in builds, because with just the arrows alone, it wasn't cutting it for me. It just looked too much like the Team Rocket hideout. And you know, this seems like a good place for the kitchen, so let me lay a couple of those out here too. Starting with our oven. All we have to do to make this look good is place down a campfire, and then a temporary block with a rail over top, so that we can place our hopper minecart and then break it right into place on top of the campfire. After that, frame it with a couple of stairs on the side and a trapdoor in front, and that alone gives us a pretty good oven top. The hopper even looks like a cast iron pan on a stove, which I like a lot too. And if you really want to crank up the heat on the oven, you could break the block underneath the campfire and replace it with a hay bale. Next, we're going to build a couple of the kitchen chairs that we can have inside of the kitchen. And you might be wondering why I'm grabbing a name tag, but trust me, it'll all come together pretty quick. What we need to do first is dig a hole in your kitchen floor, place down a chest, and then using a couple of guide blocks, we're going to relocate a llama into its new home. And then with a dinner bone name tag, we can flip the llama so that its legs are sticking up. After that, we build up 3 more guide blocks and place 2 iron trap doors on the top parts of the blocks like this. And now we're going to use a piston to push both of these into place. Push it once for the first set, and then again so that the llama's stuck in place. There's really no good way to say it. I'm just counting you all as accomplices for watching it this far. And then with a carpet over top of this, we can place down 1 last iron trap door, and then give ourselves a debug stick to flip it up so that it's permanently in the right position. Until the end result's that we have a pretty good looking modern kitchen chair inside of our build. You know, just one that squeaks a bit when you move it. And now let's move out of the kitchen into our living room. Since the first thing I want to get here is placing down these lecterns to build ourselves some drawers. Now, the lecterns aren't the drawers. That would be pretty disappointing for how much they can store, but rather we're going to overlay some shulker boxes over top of this, and then framing the whole thing with trapdoors of your choice of color, we get ourselves 54 item slots worth of storage, and the drawers even open the right way too, which I think is really fun. And to make our living room into a place that we actually want to live in, I want to show you this new tool that I started messing around with. Now, without this Reddit post, I wouldn't have found out about this in the first place, so already credit to them. But there's this amazing tool called BD Studio that allows you to mess around with the new block displays that got added into the recent Minecraft updates. Meaning we can make a cobblestone block look like this. Although I don't know why you would want to. But if you have any knowledge of 3D software, you can use this to make basically anything in Minecraft. And so with this command that I'm going to put down in the description, if you put this inside of a command block, then we can press the button and get ourselves a fully formed couch made out of purpur. And come on, the idea that this is in vanilla Minecraft, that blows my mind alone. But we can even make it functional too, since right now, you just kind of phase through the couch, sinking between the cushions like lost change. But if we add in a couple of purpur slabs underneath this, then you can also crouch on top of it. Oh, pardon my skin, I bought the ticket to the wrong movie. And that's not the last I want to use the block display command, but now that it's comfortable for us, I want to also make it comfortable for our pets. And the first step for doing that is the new pet bowl items that got added in 1.20. Since by placing down the actual decorated pots that we got added into the game, and then covering them over top with carpet, then the little lip sticks through, and on ground level, this works great for a pet bowl for your new pup. And what's better yet is that you don't have to go searching for all the different sherd types and archaeology to make this. Doesn't matter how nice of a design is on the outside. You're not going to be able to see it when you build it like this. But let's not just do something for our dogs. Our cats deserve a little bit of love too. And by just using a couple of these scaffolding blocks, with slabs mixed in here so that they can climb up top, then adding in any kind of carpet or other little toys around, we got a full cat palace play area for our cats to play around in. Just don't expect any thanks in return. Any cat owner will tell you that it's more of a mutual understanding than a show of affection. And now to finish up our living room, I want to use this last block display command. Again, this will be in the description below, but using this glass block that we manipulated inside of BD Studio, we can stretch it out and then lay a couple of trapdoors around the frame until we have a coffee table. And I've seen this done before with a retextured bed, but I just love that you're able to do this inside of vanilla. And if you want some furniture hacks that don't use block display, since that is an operator-only command, no sweat, I want to show you this too. Now, by using a wall of your choice, we can use these as our actual walls, and we can tuck in regular blocks inside until we get ourselves basically our own vertical slab blocks. And that could be great for the different kind of furniture that you want to build. Whether that's using that with a couple of stair blocks to make yourself a couch, or just a couple of planks to make yourself the back of a chair. If you got room in your house, you should try it out. Not that you needed my blessing, but I am technically ordained in 2 states. I'll let you guess which ones. And now let's turn our sights from the floor of this living room up to the roof. or what would be a roof if I'd remembered to build it. But by starting off with a fence of your choice, we can then add in a chain and then an end rod, and then one more fence to build the base of the chandelier. Now, we connect up that fence with a couple of fence gates like this, until eventually you have this crisscross shape, and then with a couple of fences laid into the corners, we can overlay the fence gates with trapdoors, and then place some of our candles on top of the fence posts. Bam, a working chandelier. And one that's not too expensive with the blocks that we build it with. I mean, end rods are obviously late game, but you can also use a copper lightning rod here if you wanted to. I think that connects up pretty nicely as well. Or if you really just don't want to light up your build with that kind of floating chandelier, since without a roof, it's not really supported or safe, then with just 2 stair blocks facing in like this, we can place down the dragon egg and a quartz pillar block like this until we eventually have ourselves a table lamp. Or if you don't want to use the dragon egg for obvious reasons, then to make a lava lamp, all you gotta do is put a couple of flower pots on top of each other and then a cactus in the bottommost flower pot. Look, it's even got the little bubbles floating through the liquid. And now I want to take us outside to show how we're gonna light up out there as well. Now first you place down a wall and then 3 fence posts coming up on top of it, outline the sides with trap doors, and then flip them down so it connects right. We can add in a sea lantern, 2 more of these fence posts, and then trapdoors and slabs on top, until the end result's that we got a pretty cool looking lamp post. I mean, these even look like the ones that are outside of the actual Barbie dream house that you can go to. Alright, we've talked about a lot of pink so far, but that's been neglecting all the pink petals that we can use too. And while I've shown this off for pixel art in the past, I think this might be my favorite application so far. Now, see, you can place these pink petals in each of the different 4 corners of a block, and then stack them up like candles until there's 4 flowers inside of the block. And with that, we can get some really nice curved edges until eventually you have yourself a perfect looking heart right next to your build. So if you already placed your Minecraft beds next to that special someone, I guess this is the next step. And at this point, I don't know what's harder to find, a cherry blossom biome or a girlfriend. I guess both depend on how much Minecraft you play. And moving on. That's not the only That's not the last thing I want to do with cherry petals. Since with the cherry leaves that we're able to get from the cherry saplings, we can mix these together with our pink petals. We did a great looking gradient from pink to green, which is just begging to be used on a path design. And because we use moss in this example, that's also something that would work in every biome that you placed it in. And the same is true with azalea leaves, which we're going to use for our new flower bushes. Now obviously there's a case for just using the flowering azalea leaves for this, but I think we could do even better. Since if you have some bookshelves, I know, it sounds weird, follow me out, and then overlay our leaves on top of that, the way it works, the leaves actually cover all of that plank texture, meaning that we're just seeing the sparks of color that come through, making it look like flowers deep in a bush. And we don't have to just worry about placing flowers inside of this build, we can also put them on the outside too. Since with invisible item frames and sunflowers rotated like this, we can also get some external flowers as well. We're just a little limited on color for these ones. Unfortunately, all the other flowers that you place inside of the item frame don't look nearly as in place as the sunflowers do, so I hope you like yellow. And if you don't, then you could always take the azalea bush saplings and mix those into the floor with a couple of grass blocks and moss blocks, and that'll basically give you a flower patch to play around with in the outside of your planes. And then for some of our extra flowers on top of this, if you take a spore blossom, you can't place it upside down, or right side up depending on which part of the flower you want to use. It has to be supported underneath something. But even just seeing the flower inside of an invisible item frame, or an armor stand if you use something like Vanilla Tweak's data pack, you can get some really nice looking flowers to decorate the rest of your flower patch. Even put it on top of a lily pad with the armor stand and basically have a pond flower. It just might be a pain to do all the commands here. Even sped up, this is gonna look terrible in the footage. Okay, I want to show you why you shouldn't place your enchanting table inside of an enchanting room in your house, and instead, you should try it out in Surface. Since after laying out the basic parts of the enchanting room, like your bookshelves and your enchanting table, then we can take after what Big Gardener did here and use a mix of stone slabs and stairs for the pedestal for what's soon to be our owl statue. Now, first what we'll do is we use a couple of these acacia planks for the feet, and then with birch planks and stripped birch wood for the inside, we can use another acacia stair for the beak, turn in a couple of our birch stairs like this for the eyes, and after laying out a mix of dark oak trapdoors with a couple of spruce trapdoors, we'll have the wings and feathers ready for your actual owl. And you might be saying, how would this even fit inside of your dream house? And to that I would ask you, what dream house wouldn't include this? We can even add in some chains and a lantern off this wing so that the owl is holding our light source. That's just so nice of it. How are you gonna say the owl's not worth it if it's holding the light? So I have a couple of other things that I want to build outside of our dream house, like this swing set. Now to build the actual part of the swing bench, we're gonna use trapdoors, but it's important to know that even though trapdoors are visually flipped down, you're able to put rails on top of them. So if we place in some of those, and then another trapdoor overhead, we can connect all the rails up top, even after we break the middle one and replace it it with an anvil, those rails will still be angled up to the top part of our swing. And at that point, you can house it in whatever you'd like. The original build has an overhang over the swing set like this, but I think this could even look nice if you just built it hanging off of your house. Or a crane over a death pit like this. And for the outdoor furniture that we can actually survive on top of, I want to take down a couple of these stairs like this for a bench, and then most importantly, add in a campfire with some signs around it, which I think does a lot to make the campfire look even better. I mean, without it, it just looks like something that you're using temporarily. But just with this little change, it blends in pretty nice, and still has its functionality too. Or if you don't want to cook up anything out in the open air, then let's make ourselves a picnic too. First, we're going to alternate our red and white wool blocks into the floor like this, and then place down a cake with a couple of trapdoors outlining it. The cake isn't trapped. What we're just going to do is we're going to flip them up, place one more trapdoor on top of the cake, and then use a jungle trapdoor on the top like this. Flip it open, and it's a picnic box. Alright, so we made good progress with our dream house, but we can't forget about our dog's dream house too. Now, much in the same way that we did the plushes from earlier, what we're going to do is place down an enchanting table so that they'll line up just right, and then use a couple of guide blocks like this to allow us to drop the armor stands right into position. Now, dye it whatever color you want. I just think that red's most iconic for a doghouse. And then, after you use a piston with the same technique to push these into place, push one to this side, another to the other side, drop them on top, and then we push in 2 quartz slabs like this into the middle of it. Place on a banner with these specifications on the front like this. That'll give us a little doggy door for the doggy house. Though, come to think of it, I maybe should have gotten a dog before I decided to build the whole house. Welcome home, Grover. Look, your collar even matches. Placing down a couple of nether brick fences into the corners like this. We can outline those fence posts in string, place stripes of green and white carpet over top, and then in the middle here, use a couple of iron trapdoors connected between 2 walls, and some white glass panes over top, giving us a proper ping pong table. And for the last of our armor stand hacks for this video, what we're gonna do is lay out a couple of slabs like this, then place down guide blocks so that we can push the armor stand right into place on either side of the slab. And once they're there, we're not done with pistons or the guide blocks. We're just gonna have to move them to this side so that our armor stands don't move out of the way. And then finally, we're gonna push a couple of these end rods into place, so then we have the rack for our barbell. And then to put on a couple of weights so you're not embarrassing yourself, you can use wither skull heads like this to line the outside. And now you got a weightlifting bench for either you or the Ken in your life. And speaking of Ken, the rest of our job for this video is beach. So we're gonna move over to this scene and start to build up the ways that we can hang out poolside next to our Malibu dream house. I guess unsurprisingly, the first thing you need is a pool. So with really just a couple of stairs waterlogged like this and slabs underneath, we can create whatever kind of pool shape that we want. And if you want to turn it into a hot tub, dig a hole like this and then place down hay bales and campfires so that smoke can go through the floor and look like steam inside of your hot tub. And next to that hot tub, we're gonna take a couple of fences, place an end rod on top, and then use a diorite wall inside of the inside here so that we can place our white banners along the outside, and that'll give us a poolside umbrella that's closed, because, I'm trying to work on my tan. Yeah, unfortunately for both of us, this is just a sunburn. But my soon-to-be melanoma aside, we're gonna build up the dock for the last thing that I want to add to our dream house. Now, while it'd be easy to just do this out of regular wooden planks, what I like particularly here is using stairs mixed in waterlogged, so then when you connect it up with railing like this, it looks a lot more like planks of wood that are floating on the ocean water. Now, grab whatever colorful concrete that you want of your choice. I'm choosing pink for obvious reasons. We're first gonna lay out 8 of these blocks like this with a blast furnace at the back, and then by overlaying a mix of these quartz slabs like so, we'll have the base of what's soon to be our jet ski. Finally, a couple of polished blackstone for our seat back here, one more quartz slab and some carpet for the front, and then with an anvil and some end rods coming out for the steering, we can add on this very last lever, and our jet ski's ready to both ski and jet over the ocean water. And with that, folks, YouTube thinks that you might like this video, so see if they're right and have a good one, alright?